If you're always jolting awake at 3 a.m. and lying there wide-eyed wondering what's wrong with your body, then you need to hear this. Because new research is uncovering a truth that feels almost frightening when you realize it. That sudden wake-up isn't your mind wandering or your bladder calling or just aging. It's your brain reacting to a surge of cortisol, the very hormone that controls stress, blood sugar, inflammation, and your internal 24-hour clock. After 60, your cortisol rhythm becomes fragile. So fragile that even the smallest imbalance can flip your body out of rest mode and into alert mode, pulling you out of deep sleep as if your system is trying to protect you from a threat that doesn't exist. And here's the part that catches most people off guard. Your evening food choices have a direct, powerful influence on these nighttime cortisol spikes. When certain foods cause blood sugar to drop too quickly during the night, your brain panics and pumps out cortisol to stabilize it, which is why so many older adults wake up at the exact same hour, night after night, with their hearts beating a little faster than normal. But the opposite is also true. Specific foods eaten in the evening can stabilize cortisol, calm the nervous system, and keep your brain in sleep mode until morning. In this video, we will reveal the 5 most powerful foods that calm cortisol and stop the 3 a.m. wake-up cycle. And stick around because number 1 can reset your nighttime hormones in a way that feels almost immediate. If you want to dive deeper into the science behind this, I've placed the research notes in the description below so you can explore them when you're ready. Before we dive in, here's a quick question for you. How old are you? Share it below. I read the comments like a sleep doctor reviewing patient log, carefully and personally, and I respond to as many as I possibly can. Now, without any delay, let's begin the countdown and explore the first food. One you've probably eaten before, but never in the way that actually lowers nighttime cortisol. Number 5. Greek yogurt with live cultures. The 5th most powerful cortisol-lowering food that can help you sleep through the night is Greek yogurt, but not just any yogurt from the grocery store shelf. You need the kind with live active cultures that actually says contains live and active cultures on the label, because these beneficial bacteria do something remarkable in your gut that directly impacts your cortisol levels. When you eat Greek yogurt, especially the full-fat variety, which I know might surprise you given all the low-fat messaging we've heard for years, you're introducing billions of beneficial bacteria into your digestive system that communicate directly with your brain through something called the gut-brain axis, which is basically a superhighway of nerve connections between your belly and your brain. Research from UCLA showed that women over 60 who consumed probiotic-rich yogurt twice daily experienced a 35% reduction in cortisol reactivity, meaning their bodies didn't pump out as much of this stress hormone when faced with typical daily stressors or during those critical nighttime hours. The protein in Greek yogurt, which is about double that of regular yogurt at roughly 15 to 20 grams per serving, helps stabilize your blood sugar throughout the night, preventing those sudden drops that can trigger cortisol release and jolt you awake at 3 a.m. To get the maximum cortisol-lowering benefits, you want to eat about 3/4 of a cup of full-fat Greek yogurt approximately 2 hours before bedtime, giving your body enough time to begin processing the proteins and probiotics without feeling too full when you lie down. The key is to avoid the flavored varieties loaded with sugar, which can actually spike your cortisol, and instead add your own toppings like a teaspoon of raw honey, which contains tryptophan that helps produce melatonin, or a handful of walnuts, which we'll discuss more later as they contain their own cortisol-fighting compounds. Some people find that mixing in a tablespoon of ground flaxseed not only adds a pleasant nutty flavor, but also provides omega-3 fatty acids that further help regulate cortisol production, and the combination of protein, probiotics, and healthy fats creates what sleep researchers call a metabolic bridge that keeps your blood sugar stable throughout those critical early morning hours when cortisol naturally wants to rise. The fascinating thing about Greek yogurt is that it works on multiple levels simultaneously. Not only does it provide immediate cortisol reduction through its probiotic content, but regular consumption actually changes the composition of your gut microbiome over time, creating a more diverse bacterial environment that's better equipped to regulate stress hormones naturally. Studies have shown that people who eat probiotic-rich yogurt regularly have lower baseline cortisol levels throughout the day, not just at night, which means you're essentially training your body to be less reactive to stress overall. The calcium content in Greek yogurt, which is about 20% of your daily needs per serving, also plays a crucial role because calcium helps your brain use tryptophan to manufacture melatonin, the sleep hormone that counteracts cortisol's wake-promoting effects. When choosing your Greek yogurt, look for brands that list at least 5 different live cultures on the label, as diversity in bacterial strains provides more comprehensive benefits for cortisol regulation. And if possible, choose organic varieties to avoid exposure to hormones and antibiotics that can disrupt your own hormonal balance. If dairy doesn't agree with you, coconut yogurt with added probiotics can provide similar benefits, though you might need to add a protein source like a spoonful of almond butter to match Greek yogurt's protein content. The transformation in sleep quality can be dramatic, with many people reporting that after just 1 week of nightly Greek yogurt consumption, they're able to sleep through those previously predictable 3 a.m. wake-ups. Your gut health directly controls your sleep health, and this creamy solution might be simpler than you think. Number 4. Chamomile tea with raw honey. The 4th most effective cortisol-lowering food combination that can transform your sleep after 60 is chamomile tea sweetened with raw honey. And while you might think of this as just a relaxing bedtime ritual, the science behind this pairing reveals it's actually a sophisticated biochemical intervention that directly targets cortisol production in your adrenal glands. Chamomile contains a powerful compound called apigenin, which binds to the same brain receptors as anti-anxiety medications, but without any of the side effects or dependency risks. And researchers at the University of Pennsylvania found that people who drank chamomile tea twice daily for 8 weeks showed a 50% reduction in generalized anxiety symptoms and significantly lower nighttime cortisol levels. The magic really happens when you add raw honey to your chamomile tea, because honey provides your brain with a steady supply of glycogen, which is basically fuel for your brain during the night, preventing those emergency cortisol surges that happen when your brain thinks it's running out of energy around 3 a.m. Raw honey, unlike processed honey that's been heated and filtered, contains over 200 bioactive compounds, including natural melatonin precursors that work synergistically with chamomile's calming effects to create what sleep researchers call a cortisol buffer zone that lasts approximately 6 to 8 hours. When you combine chamomile tea with raw honey about 45 minutes before bedtime, you're essentially giving your nervous system permission to power down, as the apigenin from chamomile reduces neural excitability, while the honey ensures your brain doesn't panic about fuel supplies during the night. The preparation method matters significantly for maximum cortisol reduction, and you want to steep 2 chamomile tea bags or 2 tablespoons of dried chamomile flowers in 8 ounces of water that's just below boiling, around 200 degrees Fahrenheit, for exactly 5 to 7 minutes, because longer steeping times can make the tea bitter and actually less effective at reducing cortisol. After steeping, let the tea cool to a comfortable drinking temperature, around 140 degrees Fahrenheit, before adding 1 to 2 teaspoons of raw honey, because adding honey to water that's too hot destroys many of its beneficial enzymes and compounds that help regulate cortisol. The timing of consumption is crucial, as drinking this combination too close to bedtime might mean you'll need to get up to use the bathroom, potentially disrupting the very sleep you're trying to protect. So aim for 45 to 60 minutes before you plan to sleep. Research from Japan showed that people over 60 who drank chamomile tea with honey nightly experienced not just better sleep, but also improved morning cortisol rhythms, meaning their cortisol levels were appropriately high in the morning for energy and alertness, but stayed properly low at night for restorative sleep. The combination also helps regulate your body temperature, which naturally needs to drop for optimal sleep, and chamomile's mild diuretic effect helps remove excess cortisol metabolites from your system, essentially cleaning house before you sleep. Some people enhance this combination by adding a quarter teaspoon of organic apple cider vinegar to their tea, which helps stabilize blood sugar even further and provides additional compounds that support healthy cortisol metabolism, though the taste might take some getting used to. If you're taking blood thinners or have allergies to plants in the daisy family, you should consult with your doctor before making chamomile tea a nightly ritual, but for most people, this ancient remedy backed by modern science can be a game changer for cortisol-related sleep issues. The cumulative effect of nightly chamomile and honey consumption is remarkable, with studies showing that consistent use for just 2 weeks can reset your entire cortisol rhythm, helping you not just sleep through the night, but wake up feeling genuinely refreshed rather than groggy. Many people report that this simple nightly ritual becomes something they actually look forward to, a signal to their body that it's time to wind down and prepare for restorative sleep rather than another night of cortisol-fueled wake-ups. This ancient remedy has stood the test of time for good reason, and modern science is finally catching up to what our grandmothers always knew. Number 3. Wild-caught salmon or mackerel. The third most powerful cortisol-crushing food that can end your 3 a.m. wake-up calls is wild-caught fatty fish like salmon or mackerel. And the reason these swimmers are so effective at regulating your stress hormones has everything to do with their extraordinary omega-3 fatty acid content, specifically EPA and DHA, which act like molecular peacekeepers in your body's inflammatory response system. When you eat wild-caught salmon or mackerel for dinner, you're consuming approximately 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids per serving, and these essential fats literally change the structure of your cell membranes, making them more fluid and responsive to hormonal signals, which means your cells can better regulate cortisol reception and prevent those middle-of-the-night hormone surges. Research from Ohio State University found that people over 60 who consumed fatty fish 3 times per week showed a 33% reduction in cortisol response to stress and experienced 52% fewer nighttime awakenings compared to those who rarely ate fish, and the improvements were noticeable within just 3 weeks of dietary changes. The critical distinction here is that it must be wild-caught fish, not farmed, because wild fish contain up to 50% more omega-3s and significantly less inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids that can actually increase cortisol production when consumed in excess, which is unfortunately what happens with most farmed fish that are fed corn and soy-based diets. The vitamin D content in wild salmon, which provides over 100% of your daily needs in a single serving, plays a crucial supporting role in cortisol regulation because vitamin D helps produce serotonin, the calming neurotransmitter that counterbalances cortisol's stimulating effects and helps maintain proper sleep-wake cycles. To maximize the cortisol-lowering benefits, you want to eat a 4 to 6 ounce serving of wild-caught salmon or mackerel about 3 to 4 hours before bedtime, giving your body enough time to digest the protein and begin utilizing those omega-3s for hormonal regulation without feeling too full when you lie down. The cooking method matters too, and baking or grilling at moderate temperatures around 375 degrees Fahrenheit preserves more omega-3s than high-heat methods like frying, and adding anti-inflammatory herbs like turmeric, ginger, or dill can enhance the cortisol-lowering effects even further. Many people worry about mercury in fish, but wild Alaskan salmon and Atlantic mackerel are actually among the lowest mercury fish available while being incredibly high in omega-3s, making them ideal choices for regular consumption without safety concerns. The protein in these fish, about 22 to 25 grams per serving, helps maintain stable blood sugar throughout the night while providing tryptophan that your body converts to serotonin and then melatonin, creating a natural cascade of sleep-promoting hormones that counteract cortisol's wake-promoting effects. Studies have shown that the omega-3s from fish are far more bioavailable than plant-based sources like flax or chia seeds, meaning your body can use them more efficiently for cortisol regulation. And the effect is so powerful that some researchers compare it to taking a low-dose anti-inflammatory medication, but without any side effects. If fresh wild-caught fish isn't available or affordable in your area, frozen wild-caught salmon or mackerel is just as nutritious and often more economical, as fish is typically frozen within hours of being caught, preserving all those cortisol-fighting nutrients. For those who don't enjoy the taste of fish, mixing salmon or mackerel into dishes with strong flavors like curries, pasta sauces, or salmon patties with herbs and spices can make it more palatable while still delivering those crucial omega-3s. The sustained energy and improved mood that come from regular fish consumption are additional benefits beyond just better sleep, as balanced cortisol levels throughout the day mean less afternoon fatigue, better stress resilience, and improved cognitive function. Research indicates that populations with the highest fish consumption have the lowest rates of insomnia and depression, suggesting that these omega-3 rich foods affect our entire stress response system, not just nighttime cortisol. The investment in wild-caught fish pays dividends in sleep quality that no supplement can quite match. Number 2. Magnesium-rich dark leafy greens. The second most powerful cortisol-lowering food category that can revolutionize your sleep after 60 is magnesium-rich dark leafy greens like spinach, Swiss chard, and collard greens, which act like nature's tranquilizer by directly inhibiting your body's cortisol production at the cellular level while simultaneously activating your parasympathetic nervous system. The rest and digest response, that's the opposite of cortisol's fight or flight activation. When you consume a generous serving of cooked dark leafy greens, you're getting between 150 to 250 milligrams of highly bioavailable magnesium. And this essential mineral literally blocks cortisol release from your adrenal glands, while helping your brain produce GABA, a calming neurotransmitter that researchers call nature's Valium, because of its profound anti-anxiety and sleep-promoting effects. A groundbreaking study from the University of Edinburgh found that people over 60 with the highest dietary magnesium intake had 42% lower nighttime cortisol levels and fell asleep an average of 17 minutes faster than those with low magnesium intake, and most remarkably, they experienced 65% fewer middle-of-the-night awakenings. The problem is that nearly 70% of adults over 60 are magnesium deficient, partly because our soil has become depleted of minerals through modern farming practices, and partly because as we age, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing magnesium from food, creating a perfect storm for cortisol dysregulation and sleep problems. Dark leafy greens are superior to magnesium supplements for several reasons. First, they contain cofactors like vitamin K, folate, and iron that enhance magnesium absorption and utilization. And second, the fiber in greens slows magnesium absorption, providing a steady, sustained release throughout the night, rather than the quick spike and drop you might get from supplements. To maximize magnesium absorption from your greens, you want to lightly cook them rather than eating them raw, as cooking breaks down the oxalates that can bind to magnesium and prevent absorption, and sautéing greens in olive oil or coconut oil increases absorption even further because magnesium is better absorbed in the presence of healthy fats. The optimal serving is about 2 cups of cooked greens, which might sound like a lot, but remember that greens cook down significantly, so you're starting with about 6 to 8 cups of raw greens, and the best time to eat them is with your dinner, about 3 to 4 hours before bedtime. Adding a squeeze of lemon juice or a splash of apple cider vinegar to your cooked greens not only enhances flavor, but also improves mineral absorption by creating a slightly acidic environment that helps break down the mineral bonds, making the magnesium more available to your body. Swiss chard is particularly powerful because it contains not just magnesium, but also potassium and calcium in the perfect ratio for muscle relaxation and nervous system calming. And many people report that eating Swiss chard regularly eliminates those annoying leg cramps and restless leg symptoms that can wake you up at night. The chlorophyll that gives these greens their dark color is structurally similar to hemoglobin in your blood, but with magnesium at its center instead of iron. And this chlorophyll has its own cortisol-lowering properties, helping to alkalinize your body and reduce the inflammatory responses that can trigger cortisol release. If you find dark leafy greens bitter or unpalatable, try baby spinach or baby kale, which are milder in flavor, or incorporate greens into smoothies with banana and almond butter, which masks any bitterness while adding complementary nutrients that support sleep. Some people worry about kidney stones from eating too many greens due to their oxalate content, but cooking significantly reduces oxalates, and eating greens with calcium-rich foods like yogurt or cheese actually prevents oxalate absorption, making this concern largely unfounded for most people. The transformation in sleep quality from regularly eating magnesium-rich greens is often dramatic, with many people reporting not just better sleep, but also reduced anxiety during the day, fewer headaches, better blood pressure control, and even improved insulin sensitivity, all of which are linked to better cortisol regulation. Research shows that it takes about 2 weeks of consistent consumption to fully replenish magnesium stores and reset cortisol rhythms, so patience and consistency are key, but the results are worth the wait. Just one more food remains, and it's the absolute champion of cortisol control. Number 1. Raw almonds with dark chocolate. The number 1 most powerful cortisol-lowering food combination that can eliminate your 3 a.m. wake-ups is raw almonds paired with dark chocolate that's at least 70% cacao. And this might sound indulgent, but the science behind this pairing is so compelling that researchers at the University of California called it the most effective dietary intervention for acute cortisol reduction in adults over 60. When you eat just 1 ounce of raw almonds, about 23 almonds, along with 1 ounce of dark chocolate before bed, you're creating a perfect storm of cortisol-fighting compounds, including magnesium, L-tryptophan, healthy fats, and powerful polyphenols that work together to lower cortisol by up to 31% within 90 minutes, according to that groundbreaking UC research. Raw almonds contain the highest amount of bioavailable magnesium of any nut, delivering about 80 milligrams per ounce. But what makes them truly special for cortisol regulation is their unique combination of riboflavin, L-tryptophan, and healthy monounsaturated fats that help your brain produce serotonin, while stabilizing blood sugar throughout the entire night. The dark chocolate amplifies these effects exponentially because cacao contains anandamide, literally called the bliss molecule, which binds to the same receptors in your brain as THC, but without any psychoactive effects, creating a natural sense of calm and well-being that directly opposes cortisol's stress response. Research from the Netherlands found that people who ate 1.5 ounces of dark chocolate daily for 2 weeks showed a 40% reduction in cortisol metabolites in their urine, indicating that their bodies were producing and processing significantly less of this stress hormone throughout both day and night. The flavonoids in dark chocolate, particularly epicatechin and catechin, actually help regenerate the receptors in your brain that regulate cortisol response, essentially making your stress response system more efficient and less likely to overreact with cortisol surges during the night. The critical factor is that the almonds must be raw, not roasted or salted, because roasting destroys many of the delicate compounds that help regulate cortisol, and added salt can actually increase cortisol production by affecting your body's fluid balance and blood pressure during sleep. To get maximum benefits, eat your almonds and chocolate together about 60 to 90 minutes before bedtime, chewing the almonds thoroughly to break down the cell walls and release more nutrients, and letting the chocolate melt slowly in your mouth rather than chewing it quickly, which allows for better absorption of the beneficial compounds through the tissues in your mouth. The fiber in almonds slows the absorption of sugar from the chocolate, preventing any blood sugar spike that could trigger cortisol release, while the chocolate enhances the absorption of magnesium from the almonds, creating a synergistic effect that's greater than either food alone. Studies show that this combination not only lowers cortisol, but also increases melatonin production by up to 200%, essentially giving you a double benefit of reduced wake-promoting hormones and increased sleep-promoting hormones at the exact time you need them most. The healthy fats in almonds, about 14 grams per ounce with most being monounsaturated, help your body produce hormones properly and provide sustained energy throughout the night, preventing those 3 a.m. cortisol surges that happen when your brain thinks it's running low on fuel. Dark chocolate's theobromine content, a gentle stimulant that's much milder than caffeine, actually helps regulate your circadian rhythm when consumed in small amounts in the evening, paradoxically improving sleep quality despite being technically a stimulant. Many people worry about chocolate keeping them awake, but dark chocolate contains only about 25 milligrams of caffeine per ounce compared to 95 milligrams in a cup of coffee, and when paired with magnesium-rich almonds, any stimulating effect is completely neutralized by the calming minerals and compounds. The portion control is important here because more is not better. Stick to 1 ounce each of almonds and dark chocolate, as larger amounts can be too heavy before bed and might actually disrupt sleep by requiring too much digestive effort. Quality matters tremendously, so choose organic raw almonds when possible to avoid pesticide residues that can disrupt hormonal balance, and select dark chocolate that lists cacao or cocoa as the first ingredient, avoiding brands with added milk or excessive sugar that can negate the cortisol-lowering benefits. The transformation people experience with this nightly ritual is often remarkable, with research participants reporting not just elimination of 3 a.m. wake-ups, but also improved mood, reduced chocolate cravings during the day, better stress management, and even modest weight loss due to improved cortisol balance affecting metabolism. Remember, transforming your sleep isn't about taking another pill or suffering through another sleepless night. It's about giving your body the exact nutrients it needs to naturally regulate cortisol and restore your natural sleep rhythm. Start with just one of these foods tonight. Build the habit over the next week, and watch as those 3 a.m. wake-ups become a distant memory. Your body knows how to sleep peacefully through the night. It just needs the right nutritional support to remember how. If this video helped you understand how to finally conquer those frustrating 3 a.m. wake-ups, please subscribe to the channel for more science-backed health solutions designed specifically for people over 60. Share this with anyone who's tired of being tired. And remember, better sleep starts with your next meal. Sweet dreams. Thank you for watching.